It's Chris here today from Huckabones Equipment. In today's video, we're going to do kind of a conversation about how getting your snowblower ready for winter. So we're also going to be introducing you to this new E54 hybrid blower from Normand and what all it's good for. So we're going to do what we always do, sort of. We're going to go top to bottom instead of front to back. So stick with us. So before we run into any tips or any needed information on snowblowers, you should always know that there's three different styles of blowers. So in this case, right beside me, we have the hybrid or inverted blowers. You have backup blowers, and you also have front snow blowers. So whenever you're dealing with smaller tractors, you're going to see a lot of hybrids, backups, and fronts. As you get up into bigger tractors, the fronts will fall away. You won't see very many of them on a 50 horsepower plus tractor. And then you're going to be moving into your hybrids and your backups. So all tips and tricks are going to be very relatable to all of those. So it doesn't matter whether you have a small 54-inch here, or as we look farther down the line, there's 92-inch hybrids and front snowboard stuff. They're all very relatable that way, kind of interchangeable tips on that. So let's jump to it now and start working our way from the top to bottom here. It's starting to get cold out. You're trying to think, what do I need to do for winter? Well, let's service that snowblower. There's more than you think to it. Some implements, there's not a whole lot of moving parts. With a snowblower, there is. There's a lot of grease points, a lot of things that you need to think about before actually installing it. You should really do it before it gets really snow on the ground, or the day before that snow forecast. So that it is all ready to go, because there's a few things that you may need to get before finalizing your installation kind of idea. So whenever you start at the top, there's always going to be a deflector or a chute here that pivots and moves. So it can be hydraulic. In this case, it's manual. So you'll see a couple grease points and stuff. Could be lubrication point there. If it's a manual, where it's a Kubota one, it's going to be a little bit of a crank to loosen it so that you can move that chute up and down with the rod. So just be mindful that you need to lubricate that before really moving on to any other step. So whenever you move a little bit farther down, you get into here is the actual rotation of it. Again, this is manual, so you want to make sure that it actually moves, and it could be hydraulic. Either way, you need to lubricate up on these teeth and then down in here to make sure that it spins freely for you. At this point too, if it's hydraulic, it's a good thing to spin it up to see if it's going to move. Maybe there's something, maybe there's a leak, maybe there's some a seal on the rotate itself, or maybe on the tractor end, whenever you go to plug in, that there could be a loose connection there or hydraulic fluid coming out. So good to see all that, check all that. So you've lubricated everything up here, and now you're going to move a little bit further down, and we'll talk about PTOs and pins here. First thing you want to check and see if you have 3 pins. You have your top link and your 2 side arms. Every blower that goes on the back hooks up like that. Whenever it's a quick hitch style for the front, you're going to make sure you have your quick hitch and everything like that. So start with your pins. Make sure they're all there. That's pretty visual, but maybe you set them aside, maybe you need to get them, whatever it may be. As we move a little bit further down is the PTO shaft itself. So again, this being a brand new model, you can see it's strapped to it, but generally it's going to be slid on one end and then hanging there over the winter with a chain kind of holding it up, whether you've put it in your barn or left it outside. If the PTO shaft has been off all year, is make sure you check on here, on that stub shaft, that there is no burr. Maybe it got marked up or whatever. If there is a burr, it's nearly impossible to get that PTO shaft on there. The other end that slides onto the tractor, lubricate it, lubricate the tractor end, make sure that it slides on and off. They are heavy. No PTO shaft is a light thing, so just take it on and off. Make sure that it'll do that and that it spins free. So one tip or trick I should point out whenever you have a smaller tractor that has mid PTO and rear PTO, so it has that selector on the side, is put it to mid PTO. That way it'll let you spin freely on the back to make life a little bit easier hooking up to on that. So let's jump a little bit further down now and talk about the chain and the cutting edges. You'll see we have a chain here as well as a shear bolt. So again, 2 things. You want to lubricate that chain, make sure it spins free, that there's nothing dragging there, or that the chain's not broke or seized, because you have bigger problems than just that. And then is it the shear bolt? Again, there's one there, and then there's also one on the PTO shaft. You want to make sure that A, that they're there, B, you have extras, because going without them is not possible. So you just want to make sure you have that all either lubricated or that you have the extra shear bolts with you. As we move around to the side here too, you'll see that there's grease points. You want to make sure you grease that all up before the season. That's with any implement or tractor. And then you'll see every snowblower is going to have them is skid shoes. You want to make sure the skid shoes are still mounted there, that there's no issues with them moving or anything like that. And also underneath, there's always going to be a cutting edge, whether it's a rear one, front one, there's a cutting edge there. Usually they are reversible, so you want to check that. Do I need to reverse it now? Do I need to get a new one? Is there anything that could prevent this from operating as you need be? Especially that early season, you don't want to get too aggressive. If you have a gravel driveway, really blow that gravel all over the place. So whenever you start talking about the chain as well, there's always going to be a chain tensioner. So in this case, it's on the side here. You always want to make sure that it's not snapping tight, that there's still some play there. But again, in your operator's manual, it will tell you what you should be looking for on that exact tension for whichever blower it is. And last but not least, on any blower, whether it's backup, front, rear, you're going to want to do a visual check. So in this case, you know, you can open this up to the back, see what's going on there, and then just visually check, see if there's anything going on that may require some maintenance, some checkup, some whatever it may be, whether some people like to touch up the paint this time of year, so that they're 100% ready to go for whenever that snow does start coming. So before we move on talking about the front snowblowers and the quick hitches that need to be there, is that I will quickly touch base with on this new snowblower from Norman. So this is the E54-22 hybrid. So the 54 stands for 54 inches wide, 22, that means it has a 22-inch fan. New unit, it is for smaller tractors. So in the Kubota lineup, you may see it mounted on like a BO1 series that way. It's gonna be neat to try. So again, it is new to the market. We want to see how it performs whenever we actually have snow. So this is why we're just kind of touching on it. Hey, it's available, look at this kind of idea. But at the end of the day, we will have demonstrations later whenever there's actually snow on the ground. So just look forward to that and know that it's coming. To touch base on front snowblowers as well. So they're a little bit different than what you're going to see on the rear or the hybrid style, mostly because of that quick connect over there. Some little changes that we should point out before talking about anything else. So whenever it's just the blower head itself, you'll see a little bit different of a connection here. Again, you want to make sure things are lubricated, whether it's the pins on the side or the quick connect here, that everything will come together for you. So just lubricate it, move it, make sure that it's all free, spinning clear and everything. So you'll also want to check, it also will have a longer PTO shaft no matter what size of front snowblower it has. So, but it looks different than the rear one. So again, how it connects, you want to see like that it's lubricated, that it moves freely, that there's nothing going to bind it up, that everything is 100%. Again, that there's no bend to it, that if it worked last year, it's still going to work this year kind of idea. The quick hitch itself, looks like there's a lot going on there. Again, there's a couple of points that need to be lubricated, moved, and checked. So whenever you're going around the quick hitch, and again, this is a smaller one for a BX23S. You could be dealing with one for a Grand L that's bigger and badder kind of idea. You're just basically checking to see if there's any cracks, any loose paint that, you know, because last year you hit something and kind of forgot about it, or that there was a sound coming out of somewhere that you didn't really check into. So you're kind of visually looking at it, making sure that there's nothing wrong with it. And then you're actually going to dive into it because there's, you know, a few pins, there's a few moving parts that either need to be lubricated or checked. So just take your time, look at it, make sure it's 100% for what you need for the coming winter months. So the last thing, last tip kind of idea to touch base on is your gearbox here. There's always going to be oil in there. You want to check to make sure there's no leak around it and that you have oil in it, because again, your operator's manual will be saying, you know, it's at a certain level and stuff. Just make sure there's oil in it and that it's at the level it need be as per the operator's manual, whether it be Kubota, Normand, or any other brand. So that brings the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about snowblower prep, what you need to do to get ready for the winter months. If I missed a tip or a trick, or you want to share it, please leave it in the comments below. If you liked today's video, please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, please down below. Thank you.